From radishes to real estate, Matthieu Mehuys has been chasing the magic of nature since childhood. He shares how growing your own food is an act of rebellion, why biodiversity makes life easier, and how working with nature, not against it, can change everything for your health, your garden, and even your community. This episode of the Rebel Rebel is brought to you by my book, BrandJitsu. I've spent over 25 years in the trenches helping artists, entrepreneurs, and brands stop being ignored. I took everything I've learned, the wins, the hard lessons, the frameworks that actually work, and I put it into one book. It's called BrandJitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable, and it'll help you tell your story in a way that people actually remember. Get it at your favorite bookstore or visit brandjitsu.com. Welcome to the Rebel Rebel. I'm your host, Michael Dargy, and somewhere around the world, we're going to find out where. I've got Matthieu Mehuys. How are you, sir?
Hey, Michael. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Good. Just so we don't need to know your street address, but where are you in the world right now?
I'm in the middle of the Atlantic in an island group called the Azores, which is an archipelago of 9 islands. And I'm on the main island called São Miguel, and it's actually it's an autonomous region that is part of Portugal. So they have some independence, but it's a kind of lost hidden secret of the world, I think, that not too many people know about. So,
so just shamelessly, I might have Googled that, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, not many people know it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of reluctant to let people know.
Yes. We should keep it silent.
Yeah. So is that what do they call a blue zone?
Yeah. No, it's actually not a blue zone.
Oh, okay.
I would say it has the potential, but it hasn't been. It's more traditional Portuguese,
Gotcha.
with actually lots of people that drink alcohol. So that doesn't really fit, or a lot of alcohol that doesn't really fit into the blue zones, I think.
Okay, so just I was questioned, but what brought you to the Azores?
Well, yeah, I think, Michael, to answer that question, it's good to give you the backstory of myself. Is that okay if we start with that?
Yeah, the back. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So give me the backstory.
I grew up on a family farm in Belgium. Both my father and brother are active farmers still today, and by the time I was somewhere between 3 to 5 years old, I got extremely fascinated about how on earth it is possible that if you have a tiny little seed and you put it in contact with the soil, it grows into a magnificent plant. Like, that blew my mind. And this is like the thought of a 3 to 5 year old. Imagine that.
That is magic, though.
Yeah, it is. And I realized it early. And then I actually went on and I told my parents, because my mother had her own business, super busy. My dad was building the farm. He was mostly doing cash crops and cattle, so they were not doing much gardening. And I told my parents, I want to start my own vegetable garden. This was by the time I was 4 or 5, as far as I remember. Yeah. And I started out with radishes, and radishes is the easiest thing ever to grow. Like, for whoever is wanting to start their gardening journey, start out with radishes. You just put some seed in the soil, wait like 6 weeks, and you can harvest it. And for some reason, I started with that, and I succeeded. I harvested my own first vegetables, and it's still up until today one of the most amazing memories that I have, because I would harvest them, I would bring them to my mother, and then we would have a salad with my radishes, and I was like, Jesus, I'm on top of the world. This is as good as it gets.
Oh my God, I love this.
And then I went on to think like, okay, now this gardening, it seems quite easy. I'm just gonna get some more seeds and I'm going to seed everything. So I prepared my soil. Even my grandmother helped me to add in some compost. And just for you to know, I grew up on a farm that is like the heaviest clay soil on the planet.
Okay.
Like it's hard clay soil. So we had to work a lot to kind of make it vegetable proof.
Oh.
And then I just started spreading the seeds and I put it everywhere. And I thought, like, gardening is easy. I'll just do my other stuff. And on the farm, I actually had a chicken egg business as well. I had 12 chicken and I was collecting my eggs every day. I would sell them to friends of my parents. And actually, by the time I was 12 years old, I had made 2,000 euros, which I then invested in the stock market. My uncle is on the stock market. And I said, okay, I'm going to buy his shares. So this is all things that happened. But then what happened is that I got like, okay, this gardening is easy. But I came back to my garden a couple of weeks later, and it was completely overgrown by weeds. And I was devastated because I was like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't nature work with me? Why? So I had all these questions. And it was only later in life when I went to school, I did like modern languages and economics. And then I studied a bachelor in garden design because I really wanted to get back to my roots. I did a master, exactly the roots. And then I did a master degree in landscape architecture. And I did more trainings around permaculture. And actually, when I did my permaculture training, I really realized like how nature works. So, and then I went on to do what people expected me to do, was to like, okay, you have a master degree as an engineer, you should get a 9 to 5 job. And I did that. I did it for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2 years too long. And because after 6 months, I became like depressed. I was like, oh, it's really like the worst thing for me. Even though I really enjoyed it, I enjoyed parts of it because I was in Germany in like one of the higher firms and I was learning a lot, but it wasn't for me. So I decided after 2.5 years, this is enough. I'm going to quit my job, pack my backpack and hit the road and travel to all places that are actually making an impact, because I felt like, okay, if I'm going to keep doing this for the next 40 years, this is not going to change much. And my generation, we also grew up with like Al Gore, the inconvenient truth about climate change.
Sure.
And farming. I realized there's big problems around the poison that's in our environment. Yeah. So I thought, like, if I keep doing my job, nothing's going to change. So I went on this quest to look at projects around the world that are actually doing something really good for the planet and also creating a business around it. Because back then I started to realize, like, who are actually the people that change the world? If you think about it in history, it's not the politicians, because it's not their job to change the world, it's to govern. It's not NGOs, and I don't have anything against NGOs, but it's like not making massive impact. Sure. It's not also by going on strikes and protesting about like climate change. That hasn't changed much either, because that's like, everybody's like putting weight on the politicians to make change. And in fact, the only people that have ever changed the world are people like you and me who are in entrepreneurship. We are out there working with clients, making changes, changing landscapes. So I said, okay, I need to do that as well. But even before I made that change, I was traveling the world. And then I went to the Amazon rainforest. Also, like part of my trip, I wanted to see like what is the most pristine landscape of the world. And Michael, it was like the biggest impact on my personal life. I was there with an indigenous guide who showed us the Amazon rainforest. He had worked with National Geographic. He didn't have a website or anything. In fact, the night before I wanted to go on a regular tour, which was more touristic, I met this couple in a hostel in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. Yeah. And they said, like, don't go to these tourist things. I have this guy. Here's his phone number. Call him up. And I did. And I went with him on a tour for 3 days. And this guy was amazing. Like he couldn't speak English. I didn't really speak Spanish as much, but still we connected, and he was explaining everything. He could make every sound of every animal in the forest because he was grown up. Like he could spot things that I had never seen in my life, like owls that look like trees. We saw monkeys, so many. And he even said, like, guys, I've done this for 30 years. I've never seen that much animals popping up. Like we saw even a tapir, which is a small elephant, with a short nose. It's incredibly rare to see because there's very few and they're very sensitive. Yeah. So, but this whole thing was so amazing. And then what happened, Michael, I got a wake-up call from God, the universe, Mother Nature, whatever you want to call it, because in that trip I got stung by a mosquito that carried dengue.
Oh no!
And dengue is like something like malaria. Yeah. And I got really sick. After that trip, I was super sick. I lost 10 kilograms. It's like, that's quite a lot because I'm already quite skinny. and my whole life went south from that moment. I didn't have much money because I was traveling. My girlfriend dumped me. I had to move in back with my parents. So everything was like down, 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 down. And in that moment, I asked myself some deeper questions, like, why am I here? What am I doing here? And I still believe that it was like Mother Nature telling me, like, you have all this experience. You grew up on a farm. You know about nature. Go and do something with it. And I did. I said, okay, I'm going to start my own business. And that's what I did. And this is now almost 5 years ago. And at the moment, we are working in 4 continents with clients that I'm teaching people online how to create their own garden, because you as a gardener can actually have a massive impact. And I'm doing it in a way that is in harmony with nature, because you don't need all the chemicals, you don't need all the stupid tools that they sell at the garden centers. You just need the right knowledge and to work with nature. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I've been doing. And we also work one-on-one with clients across the globe. We're now getting into real estate development, because in new constructions, so many mistakes are being made in terms of the landscaping.
Yeah.
So always we have to come after everything, all the damage is done. We kind of have to fix it then. So now we're getting in, like we're trying to get into projects as soon as possible, so we avoid these stupid and costly mistakes that. So by working with nature, it's also more profitable. Actually, that's always the aim.
Oh, that's amazing. So just to tie the button here, or tie the bow, that's what brought you to the Azores.
Yeah, so that's like, long story short, I came. So I'm working with clients all over the world. I was mostly based in Belgium.
Yeah.
And then a client called me up, or a potential client said, like, I have this property in the Azores. Can you come and have a look at it? I want to develop it, or I want to build like a tiny house on it and do something with it. So I was like, yeah, sure. I'm on the next plane.
Yeah.
And I came here and I was like, this is a different world. Like, I had seen many places around the world, from Asia to Africa to South America.
Yeah.
And I this place kind of ticks all the boxes in terms of nature. It's safe here. It's very beautiful, lush nature, ocean everywhere, because I love surfing. I'm a passionate surfer. So that's why I decided to make it my home base. And I'm kind of halfway between your side, North America, and Europe.
Oh man! And how is it getting out into the world from there? Is there international flights quite
Yes. So
regularly?
the island I am on is not a big island, but where I'm living now, 20 minutes, I'm at an international airport that can bring me to direct flights to Toronto, New York.
Oh wow!
Now they have other cities in the US, and also major cities in Europe. Yeah, so
Wow!
it's about a 6 hour flight to North America and 4 hours to Europe. Yeah, maybe three
That's
to
incredible.
Portugal or Lisbon.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so just because I got to check this box in my head, what's the cost of living like there? Is it
Oh, it's
reasonable?
definitely lower than definitely lower than North America.
Yeah.
I've been spending quite a lot of time there, and it's quite expensive there.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say, like, groceries are probably a little bit cheaper than in mainland Europe, but not much, because everything has to, or a lot of things are shipped in. Unfortunately,
Mm,
we're working with local farmers to produce more locally again,
yeah.
because this island was completely secluded and had everything on its own, because the climate is amazing. You can grow bananas, anything pretty much grows here. I think it's kind of like the Garden of Eden here.
Oh my God.
But so, yeah, cost of living is definitely lower.
Is
Obviously,
it?
for local people, it's getting too expensive in many cases as
Oh,
well.
yeah. As more money comes in, or people,
Hmm.
interesting. All right. Well, we'll try to keep it on
Yeah.
the down low. Nobody go to the Azores. Shh.
No.
No, I'm kidding. um, wow. Okay, so I want to go back to your seminal moment of growing a radish, and I want to share with you a weird ass story that happened to me. Was it last year? I think it was last year. So in the summer, so we live in suburbia, Calgary, Alberta, right, just in the sort of shadow of the foothills of the Rocky Mountains,
Wow.
and the suburbia is like houses right close to each other. Yards are pretty small.
Hmm.
They still do grass here on
Yeah.
everything, and I do want to have your opinion on grass. Uh, but I ended up buying these sort of planter boxes because I'm just like, I'm going to grow some stuff. And of course, the first thing I grew was marijuana, because we are allowed to in Canada, and that went really well. That was that was really fun. But then I was just like, oh man, I want to like grow vegetables. So I took a potato, and I like interneted it. I cut the potato in half. I put toothpicks in it. It did the thing. Uh, and it started like the eyes started growing roots, and I planted it. And maybe a month, 6 weeks seems long, but I ended up having this whole bundle of potatoes that came from my soil that I put them in. Like this one potato turned into like, I don't know, 18 potatoes. I'm making
Yeah.
that number up, but it was a lot. And I got to eat my very own potato, and I was like really excited about it.
How did that feel?
Oh, it was so amazing.
Right?
Like kind of like I was connected again back to the universe. And I remember growing up just outside of Toronto, and we had a big garden there because the yards were huge, and we had corn growing on our property. We had
That's so cool.
strawberries and carrots you'd pull out of the ground, wipe on your jeans, and eat with the dirt still on it. Peas on the thing, and I realized how much I missed that.
Oh yeah.
This concept of growing something of your own, not being dependent on a grocery store and these crazy inflated prices. It
Yeah.
makes me think of back when I was young, there was food that was in season, right? Like whatever was in season, you could buy that.
Hmm.
And if food was out of season, you couldn't buy it, and you'd wait till next year to be able to get your cantaloupe or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like today's day and age, you can get whatever you want, whenever you want. If
Yeah.
you're willing to pay for it, you can have it. And it seems unsustainable.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so that's my story. Uh, any thoughts on that?
No, I fully agree with you. Like it's quite staggering that you can have anything at any time of the year, and then oftentimes it either has to be shipped in from somewhere else or flown in many
Mm-hmm.
cases, which has a huge footprint, or they have to, like, if you want to eat an apple in, let's say, July, then, or August, even August, you could get some new ones. But if you want to eat an apple in July, and
Yeah.
even if it's local, it'll have to be in like in a cooler for 9 months. So that apple is like, yeah, it has a big footprint.
Yeah.
So finding ways to grow your own food locally and seasonally is definitely the way to go, even on a budget wise. Like that's going to have a massive impact, and just the joy of doing it is incredible.
Yeah.
And also, not to mention the amount of chemicals that are being used in everything that's conventional. I actually, I'm in contact with a someone from Canada. Her name's Sarah, and um, she was always advocating against GMOs in Canada.
Yeah.
She actually won a battle. Like she came on TV in Canada when she was 14, and so she was calling out people like, we have to stop this. Like it has to be regulated,
Yeah.
and they didn't. Now you can pretty much any crop you want, you can take it and genetically modify it in Canada, and you don't have to certify, you don't have to notify anyone. You can just do that.
Oh.
So most of the food in Canada, even the fresh produce, is GMO, which is like, you could argue if GMO is per se something bad or not, but the main reason they make GMO is that they change the plant in such a way that it becomes resilient to all the chemicals.
Yeah.
So then they can spray as much chemicals to keep the weeds away.
Uh,
And then you're going to eat that plant, which is packed in chemicals. So that's really bad. So then it's like, almost, if you want to take care of your sovereignty, of your own family, of your own health,
yeah.
it's kind of like almost an obligation to start gardening.
I
And
love
even if
that.
it's just a small thing like you do, you grew some of your own potatoes, that's already a big step. So
Wow.
doing that, every small change that you can do in your diet is going to have a big impact.
Love that. Yeah, thank you for that. That's a huge thing to think about, because even people in apartments, you can have these little planter boxes and grow some food.
Yeah.
Uh, I have,
Or I've have now another friend in Canada who's, you can go to community garden, which is like you sign up
yeah,
and you work there.
yeah,
Or there's other programs where you can volunteer at a farm for like a couple hours a week. Like this friend, he's an accountant and he's behind his desk all the time,
yeah.
and he wanted to do like something meaningful, not just go to the gym and be in a stinky room
Uh,
full of plastic. He said, "Okay, I'm going to work at a farm 3 hours a week." and then he does that, and he gets some produce in exchange, which is
Oh
pretty
my,
cool.
that's amazing.
So you're outdoors, you're working in mostly it's only organic farms or regenerative farms
Yeah.
where you volunteer, and you walk home with some fresh products to
Okay.
to supply your own family with
I gotta
healthy
find.
food.
Yeah, I gotta go find this out. I heard this anecdotally, so I don't know if this is true or not. It's one of those things that floats around, I think, in the world. But somebody was telling me recently that bread isn't really bread in Canada anymore. That the grain has been changed so much, which is why people are having such a hard time digesting it. Do you know
Oh yeah,
anything about that?
yeah. Grains. So the main thing with grains is that they have modified it so much, even in Europe, but in Canada, genetically modified it, that the main thing that makes products weigh a lot, or grains weigh a lot, is gluten.
Right.
So now all the modern breeds are focused on kilograms and tons and weight. So
Uh,
they have way more gluten. And gluten is not necessarily unhealthy. It's just like it's the amount of gluten that is out of balance in the modern breeds of grains. And then adding on top of that that it's GMO, which still I'm not so skeptical about that. The plant that is GMO, that per se that plant is unhealthy.
yeah.
Probably there might be evidence for that to say as well, but it's mostly because the GMO, they can spray as much chemicals on it, it survives.
Right. Of course.
So
Um.
that's why, and you can see that in it, like a lot of people say like, oh, you have to stay away from carbs and carbs are bad, but that's wrong thinking, because look at Italy. Italy, the staple food is carbs,
Right.
pasta, all the types of pastas that they have. But
Yeah.
their grains are way older, and they
Yeah.
never started messing with them. So the people are super healthy. Like if you
Yeah.
go to Italy, you'll hardly see really fat people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the main reason.
Wild. Okay. Well, I'm inspired to get back into gardening. Um.
Yeah, just
I
as a rebel action.
yeah, just to stick it to the man. I'm gonna
Yeah,
I'm gonna grow my own
a
food.
rebel garden.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite garden smell? I do. I'm just wondering if you do.
Oh, oh yeah, I think like a jasmine type plant.
Okay.
We call it Tuscan jasmine.
Okay.
It's like it starts flowering at the beginning of summer, and I love this season. Like spring is nice, but you could still have cold,
Yeah.
at least in Europe. Now I don't. I have the eternal summer almost here. But the smell of jasmine is incredible. Yeah.
Wow. Mine is tomato plants.
Oh,
I could like
that's a good one.
stick my face in a tomato plant and just I would die happy. It's
That's
just
funny.
the best, most wholesome smell I could think of.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just so curious. I just want to pick your brain. How this is a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it. How important is biodiversity? Like having like animals, work your land, or the toad that lives under the faucet, the
Mm,
chickens that run between the crops. Like,
yeah.
is that important?
Oh, yeah. And this is far from a stupid question, Michael. Like, this is a super important and meaningful question, because what I teach in my gardening is as well in my courses is that biodiversity is the key to making you a lazy gardener. Like, it's one of the keys to becoming a lazy gardener, because you don't want to be weeding all the time. You don't want to
Yeah,
hurt your back on uh, bowing down all the time,
yeah,
because the main reason for it is that when you look into nature, there's high biodiversity and there's no maintenance. So why on earth are we in our own gardens constantly struggling against weeds, using chemicals, all these things that are not in nature?
right.
And well, the reason is because we have extracted the amount of biodiversity. Like a lot of the gardens these days is just grass
Yeah,
and maybe some shrubs or a tree,
yeah,
and that's super low in biodiversity. And that means that your garden is going to be attacked by insects that are not so that are not beneficial. So the whole thing about nature is that when you look into nature and you use that knowledge and do it the same way in your own garden, then everything becomes easier, because when you don't have high biodiversity, it really becomes difficult, because now when biodiversity is low, you really are struggling, and you're going to be fighting against insects that are trying to kill your plants. Whereas when you enhance biodiversity, and the way to do that is, for example, to plant more diversity, more different types of plants. What we also recommend is like adding insect hotels, or making dead hedges, which is helping ladybugs to survive in winter, because the ladybugs are killing the aphids. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the more diversity you can create, the better. Because if you have birds in your garden, they're going to eat some of the insects as well that don't attack your plants. And then this is all kind of biodiversity above ground. But then if you really want to make it really good, you have to also create biodiversity underground. Like in gardening, a lot of people look up above the ground. They're like, oh, my plant is suffering. I don't know what's wrong. They look left and right. But nobody's thinking like these plants have roots.
Right.
Like we only see half of the plant that's above ground. The other half is underground. So what's happening underground is in many cases, people spray some chemicals, and then the chemicals, when it rains, they go into the soil and they destroy the microbiology. And the microbiology is the key to healthy plants. And it's just like our own gut health. There's now a lot of science that proves that all of the modern diseases that we have, cancer, diabetes, that they can all be retrieved or traced back to a bad functioning gut. Like you've heard of leaky guts.
Yeah.
That's because we eat all the food that's full of chemicals, which also destroys the microbiome in our own stomach. And what they figured out is that it's exactly the same in the soil. In fact, it's just inside out. So imagine our gut. That is at the edges of the gut. There's microbiology that helps you digest food.
Yeah, the cilia.
Exactly. But if you turn your own gut inside out, that's actually the roots of plants. They interact with the soil in the same way.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And it's a fascinating world. Like we're just starting to understand the surface of it, because like we know more about the planets and the universe around us than what we know about what's happening under our soil. But what we do know is that the microorganisms live in symbiosis with the plants. So the plants need certain nutrients at certain times of the year. Like, for example, in spring, they need more nitrogen. And then even in farming and in gardening, we will put the chemical nitrogen in, which kind of works, but it also destroys the whole microbiology again.
Yeah.
But which is unnecessary, because the plants can do it themselves, because the plants send signals to the microorganisms like, hey, guys, I need some nitrogen. Go and find me some nitrogen. And then in exchange, the plants give the microorganisms sugar, because they need sugar to survive.
Oh my God. And
plants get the sugar because they do something which we learned in biology is called photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Where they get, they absorb carbon dioxide, they produce oxygen for us to breathe, but in that whole process, they also produce sugar, which they need to feed their army of microorganisms that help them grow.
God,
I'm
so excited for plants right now.
Yes, it's crazy. It's wildly complex. Even they know that 1 teaspoon of healthy soil has more microorganisms than there are people on the whole planet. So it's like,
wow.
They're very, very tiny.
Holy. Gosh. Well, okay. So just normally I ask this at the end, but I'm gonna intersperse it here just because it's germane, and I wanted to take a left. Where can people take your course?
Oh, so you can find some information on my website. We can add that in the show notes. It's www.gardenofyourdreams.com.
Okay.
There you can find the free training. And if you want to book, you can actually book a strategy call with me. We dive into your garden for like 30 minutes, and we see if the course would be a fit for you, and if you're a fit for us.
Yeah.
Because it's not for everyone. And that's where you can find most of the information. I also post like a lot of free content on my social media platforms, on Instagram, LinkedIn as well. So there people can find a lot.
Okay, so people go do that, and let's start, helping our little plant buddies attract their army of biodiversity. Yeah, dude. Okay. What's the favorite place you've ever been? Maybe it's the Amazon. Maybe you already mentioned it. I don't know.
um, it's probably high up there, but I think still to today, my favorite place in the world is South Africa. Like the area around Cape Town, Western Cape.
Okay.
Somehow, the universe has sent me there a few times, and there's something there that I really like. It's just like the smell you get off the plane there, and it smells like coming home. So
Oh, cool.
um, yeah, that's my favorite place on earth.
Ah, oh, amazing. What's the you cook?
What do I cook?
Yeah. What do you like? Do you cook?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I figured. And what's the favorite meal that you make? And I'm gonna add a caveat: the favorite meal you make to share.
Ooh, that's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that. I think I like to, but it's been a while since I've done that. But I like to make like I buy some quality bread, like a French baguette,
Yeah.
and then I make some really nice steak,
Uh-huh.
fry that, and then I toast the baguette a little bit, and then I put the steak in, and I add a lot of veggies and other stuff, and some I make some like homemade mayonnaise, and
Oh.
you have like this beautiful steak sandwich. That's like something I've done for some friends. It's been a while, but it's
Oh,
very cool because you can sit around the kitchen and cook together. Yeah.
so cool. Oh yeah, I love that. There's nothing like cooking with people
Oh yeah,
and just
it's so much fun.
and then taking your
I think
time and
when I build a house, I will like make my kitchen the centerpiece. Like I won't have I don't want a living room. Like
that
it'll
is
just be the kitchen, and
that is a living
everything
room,
happens. Yeah,
right? That's where you live.
everything happens around there. Like
Yeah.
oftentimes it's like put in the corner of the house,
Yeah.
but it should be the centerpiece.
Absolutely. Tell me about surfing. Where's your favorite surf spots? Follow-up
Favorite surf
question.
spot?
Have you been to Tofino in Vancouver Island?
No, oh, no, I haven't been yet.
Okay.
But I was in Vancouver to launch my book. Actually, it's crazy. I launched my book on a cruise ship from Vancouver to Alaska with my publisher,
So
who
cool.
does like a yearly retreat.
Yeah.
And I was planning to go, but then a client wanted to meet, and I didn't end up going to the to surf there,
Yeah.
but it's still on the list. But my favorite place in the world is the Mentawai Islands. It's like part of Indonesia,
Okay.
and it's a wild trip to get there. It's very like, especially from where you are, or you're maybe you're closer from that side. Like, how far is it to fly
T-
to Australia or Indonesia from your end?
it's 24 hours, 26 hours
What?
to fly to Australia.
Oh shit! So you're further.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So
We
yeah.
we went to Manila from Calgary, but we had to go down to the US, like to Denver or something, and then fly over. But it was about, I'd say, probably 20 hours to get to Japan and then 4 hours to
Jesus.
get to Manila.
Phew. So it's really the other end of the world from
Yeah,
where
it
you
really
are.
is. But I want to get down to Australia probably next year. It's on my list to get there.
Yeah,
Because
it's
they're
nice. I
kind of
have
our
two
people. They're,
clients.
yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I have two clients there.
Amazing. What? So tell me about. I know I've stood up on a surfboard on waves before, but I know very little about it. What do you love about it so much?
Oh, it's a mm, good question. I think it's the fact that you have to invest quite a lot of time before you get good at it. So, and I was blessed that I started out when I was 17,
Oh,
and then
nice.
you can always improve. There's no like end game. It's not like, oh, now I know how to ride a bike or something.
Right.
There's always more, bigger waves, bigger turns, or something else.
Yeah.
And then the best part of it is when you're actually surfing the wave, which is like, it's oftentimes just a few seconds, but somehow time dissolves, and you're like, it feels like minutes, but you're only like 3 seconds, and it's
Wow.
just this most beautiful feeling of being in harmony with the wave and the nature and the ocean. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. Like it seems to me that your entire life has been sort of brought together somehow by the universe in a way that's a little clearer than most of us.
Yes, maybe, could be.
Hmm.
Yeah, at the same time, it's always about individual choices you make, right?
Sure.
I
Yeah.
do believe that everyone has a purpose and alignment, something that they are here to do or fulfill.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not huge things, but you will know when you're on the right track, and you will also know when you're not. Like for me, like uh, getting really sick and yeah, having like my life going really down. At the moment when it happens, you think like, shit, what is this? Why did I get this? You don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
That's what Steve Jobs said. You only connect the dots looking backwards. Like I can talk about it now easily, but
Sure.
then it was like I have no clue what's happening here.
Wild.
And yeah, it's good to look back sometimes.
Yeah. Very cool. Um. Uh, do you have what fills your bucket? What gives you energy? I mean, surfing clearly, gardening probably, but is there something that's we don't know?
I think there's a few things, but like my day-to-day energy is like I need to do some workout, some physical exercises, something like that. I also I, I I make it a practice to do something around gratitude, because when I don't, and I think this is something that most people have, if we are like, I think we're 20 times more likely to be drawn to bad things and bad thoughts, because it's part of our nature. As like when we were in the bush, we had to be careful about bad things, not so much about good things.
Yeah.
So we still have that, and I do believe that's why many people are depressed or stuck or have that, is that it's just part of our nature. So we don't necessarily want to be there all the time. So doing a daily practice of journaling or gratitudes, that's really, I do believe that's key. But then the I think in obviously surfing, that's big, but the most beautiful thing in the world I find, or one of the most beautiful things in the world, is when I have a potential client and we do a sales meeting, and it's a yes, like I really want to do this, I want to transform my garden, I want to go for it, here's my credit card. And it may sound like, oh, this is like, oh, it's all about the money.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's nice to make money when you're in business,
Sure. Of course.
because it's actually what you need to keep reinvesting and to pay
Yep.
your team and enjoy life yourself.
Money is
But like,
oxygen.
exactly. But that moment when people say yes, I want to do it, it's such a great feeling,
Uh,
because then you know, like, oh, I'm going to change your life and we'll get the results. Like I had this couple from the US joining my course. They were struggling so much in their garden. Like they had a lot of passion about it, been doing it for over 5 years. They did what the garden centers tell you. You buy the wood chips, you buy
yeah.
the chemicals, and it just didn't work. Their garden looked really bad. And I knew exactly what was the problem. So they said, let's solve it. And then they're just in the course for 10 days, almost 2 weeks. And they said,
Yeah.
like, but just by joining it now, I've saved thousands of dollars, and I'm so excited to do it the right way that is in harmony with nature. I can't wait
Oh my god.
to see the results. So that really gives me fuel to be out there and do the grind, because it's not easy to like always be out there and posting on LinkedIn and contacting people.
Right.
But when people decide to make a change in their life, it's really empowering.
Yeah, and I could see how powerful that changes. Even the first time we talked, like when I read your like read about you, and I'm like, oh, that's an interesting guy. And then we chatted, and I was like, I was so in because I think you're operating, or at least you're helping us operate at a different level, which we need to. We have
Hmm.
to make these changes. We have to be the rebel gardener. We've got to grow
Yeah.
a potato, like oh, I'm really excited by that. There's these people in the world. We call them rebels in waiting. They are they could be gardeners in waiting for all I know, but the idea being that these people are just on the precipice of doing something, or they've stepped into the abyss and are unsure what happens next. What advice would you give these people to help them get to where they need to go?
I love this question because I would have loved to have that advice myself, and I think I made some good choices. And the main thing is get help. Like, don't
Mm,
do it alone. We are social beings. If you want to grow your business, like, surround yourself with people that are ahead of you. Either, like, if it's at the beginning, maybe you can find people or mentors that want to help you for free. But I do believe, like, if you get free advice, like, the person that gives you free advice, they cannot fully commit to helping you
sure.
because they have their own life, they have other things. Maybe it's good to, like, get some basic information,
Yeah.
but then it's so empowering to work with people. Like, I have 3 4 mentors that pivoted my business and got me to grow way faster. So I actually bought time by investing in them, because I wouldn't
Uh,
have been as far as I could today without their help. So I think that's the main thing.
Outstanding. Where can people learn all about you and Polonia?
Yeah. So you can find me if you Google my name. You'll find quite a lot of resources. If you want to learn, like, if you want to see some projects about one-on-one work, if you're like, oh, I love I'm, I love what I'm hearing, but I don't have the time to do it myself,
Yeah.
then you can find on our website www.paulonia-la.com. There you'll find
We'll put in the links.
some projects that we've done, like case studies. And then if you want to find out more about how to do it yourself, you can go to our other website, which is the www.gardenofyourdreams.com.
Yeah.
And if you do / free training, then you'll actually get a 30-minute or 30-minute free training, some videos that already get you started. And if you
Amazing.
want to find out more, you can book a strategy call with me. That's for free. And then, yeah, on most social media platforms. So on Instagram, I focus, like, on gardening hacks and tips and tricks, like little nuggets that you can apply, or just for you to start understanding more of what I've already talked about today, like the science behind it. That's there. On LinkedIn, I'm focusing more on developments and also some gardening for people to get inspired.
Love
And then I've been on TikTok, not super active at the moment, but you can
it.
find some stuff there as well,
Amazing. Do the
and
TikTok
Facebook as
dance.
well. Yeah, some gardening rebel videos.
Oh, so cool. Matthew, this has been so much fun. I've learned so much, and I can't thank you enough for being part of this.
Thank you, Michael, for having me on your show. This is awesome, and I think it's important for people to keep rebeling. And I love the title because I when I saw your podcast, I immediately listened to the song of David Bowie, and I love the song.
Yeah, he was a good man.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Hey, if you're an artist, scientist, entrepreneur, or business owner who wants a smooth and proven method to find, shape, and share your story with the world, head on over to BrandJitsu.com and order a copy of my book, BrandJitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable. I've been your host, Michael Dargy, and this has been the RebelRebel podcast. It's a podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs all over the world. And hey, if you're a rebel or you know a rebel, head on over to the RebelRebelPodcast.com and fill out the guest request form. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time.